You are a developer in a company building an inventory web app. Everything is fine. The users are happy with the inventory system. Until one day, "Hey inventory team, we need inventory data for accounting." You reply confidently, "No problem," and send them an Excel file. Then the accounting team lead replies, "Wait, every time we need the data, you manually export it and we manually import it? That's not okay. Can you just give us your API endpoints?" This is exactly why API exist. Instead of humans moving data around, system talk to system. Once you expose the inventory system API, accounting system can use it, e-commerce system can use it, all automatically. Okay, now that we understand why we need an API, the next question is, do we use the traditional controller method or go for minimal API? When it comes to speed and memory, minimal API is generally faster and lighter than traditional controllers. Controller is like a full-course meal. Everything is neatly organized in layers, models, views, controllers, filters. Nicely structured, and we are familiar with it. But all those layers add extra steps before your endpoint code runs, which makes it slower. Minimal API? It skips most of the overhead and goes straight to the endpoint, making it faster and more memory efficient. Now you might be thinking, but I already have controllers and MVC pattern in place. Only the accounting system is using my API, so traffic is low, maybe I'll just stick with controllers. Fair point. But imagine one day a high-traffic e-commerce system starts calling your API, or your boss suddenly says, "Let's make this API public so anyone, even end users, can access it and build their AI agents." Now you're dealing with hundreds or even thousands of requests per second. Suddenly, performance matters a lot. And now you're thinking, if minimal API is faster, scalable, and future-proof, why not start with it from day one? And here's the good news. If your existing MVC project is already using dependency injection and your controllers call methods from services, it's easy to create minimal API endpoint that just call the same service methods. You get the performance benefits without the need to rewrite your business logic. Here's the only tricky part. If your controllers are using model state.is valid for validation, minimal API won't handle that. The solution is to switch to fluent validation. That way, both controllers and minimal API endpoints share the same validation logic, keeping everything consistent and clean. That said, if your project already has controllers and switching to minimal API requires a lot of code changes and the API traffic is low, in my opinion, it's perfectly fine to stick with controllers for now. You can always move to minimal API later if the API becomes public or faces hundreds or thousands of requests per second. For now, let's focus on minimal API. The first decision is, how do we structure it? The simplest way is to put everything directly in Program.cs. This is great for small projects or quick demos. It's fast to write and easy to understand. But imagine having 50 or 100 endpoints later. Your program file will become long, messy, and hard to maintain. The second approach is using the static class method. Here, we group endpoints into static classes, like user endpoints or product endpoints. Then, we register each group in Program.cs. This already feels much cleaner and more readable compared to dumping everything in one file. And honestly, this approach is already pretty good. But then you might ask, do I really need to register every endpoint class one by one? Can I just write one line and let it auto-register everything? Yes, we can. One way is to create a simple interface, implement it in each endpoint class, and then write an extension method that scans the project for all classes implementing that interface. In Program.cs, just this one line of code, and every endpoint gets registered automatically. Clean and scalable. Now, if you don't want to write this infrastructure yourself, there's an even easier option, Carter. Just install the Carter NuGet package, implement iCarter module, and register it in Program.cs file. Done. Now we don't need the custom extension anymore. So to summarize, we have 4 ways to implement minimal API in ASP.NET Core. For small projects or quick prototypes, it's totally fine to put everything directly in Program.cs. For larger projects, you'll want something more organized, using static endpoint classes, an interface with an extension method, or a library like Carter. These methods give you a cleaner structure and make the codebase much easier to maintain as the project grows. Now, one more important question when building APIs. Do we use sync or async? The answer is async. Once your API exposed, your system is being used by the internal users, the accounting, finance, e-commerce, or any external systems. So you definitely don't want the threads sitting there blocked and waiting for database calls. If you want a deeper understanding of why async matters and how it works under the hood, feel free to check out my previous video linked here. And that's it for this video. Today we focused only on minimal API, but there's a lot more to APIs: authentication, Swagger, versioning, poly, and more. We'll explore those in future videos, so everything stays easy to follow and digest. By the way, what other API topics would you like to see next? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching and happy coding!